Thank you for joining us for today's event, PHPR Collaborative in Libraries, like French fries and Frosties, strange? You mean great, presented by Joe Burns. Joe is the co-founder of the Colorado Public Health Parks and Recreation Collaborative. Joe is a skillful connector with experience in community, camp, professional association, and higher ed parks and recreation settings. This event is being hosted by the Colorado State Library. My name is Christy Moran. My pronouns are she and ella, and I am the Adult Library Services Senior Consultant, or as I like to say, a librarian for librarians and library staff in Colorado. Today's event is being recorded, and all registrants, regardless of whether or not you showed up today, will receive an email with a link to the recording and a PDF of the slides or other resources shared today. At the end of this session and in a follow-up email, I will be sharing a link to a survey. The State Library uses this survey to inform our work and to report on the value of our programming. For this presentation, our presenter will leave some time to answer questions at the end of the presentation. If you ask your questions in the chat, I'll be sure to read them aloud so that your questions are captured on the recording for all viewers. So now to Joe.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm so glad you joined us over this lunchtime. And I apologize ahead of time. There are pictures of French fries and milkshakes in this. So if that makes you hungry, do what you need to do. Welcome. I'm so excited that Christy invited me to do this. I kind of got her to do the same thing for our Public Health Parks and Recreation Collaborative quarterly meeting. So we kind of, we're sharing our stuff. Before we get started, though, I really want to say thank you to all of you who are librarians across all of our city and county libraries, because y'all are superheroes. You stand up for reading and access to knowledge all across our state, despite folks who are trying to limit access to books and to information and to knowledge. And I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you, because you are essential. And it's a constant thing. Just like Parks and Recreation, public health, we are essential to our communities. And a lot of times we have to do a lot of education around this. So kudos to you. Hugs and kisses and all the good stuff. I am going to invite you, if you notice a little heart down on your Zoom thing, there's a reaction, and they have new ones now that like fly all over the place. So if we're talking about something that you really like or do you think's funny, or you love it or whatever, please feel free to react and put that stuff in there, because that lets me know I'm not just talking to a box, right? So please do that. Please do that. That's exciting stuff. So I want to let you know before we get started, something really important. I've been working with some folks that belong in Colorado through the Denver Health Foundation, that they've been looking at where community members find the most belonging. And the top three libraries are in the top three. It's libraries, parks and recreation, and faith-based or places of worship and that kind of stuff. So just know that community members value you and feel like that's where they belong. And that's why we wanted to kind of have this conversation and stuff about parks and recreation, public health, built environment, nutrition, education, and libraries, because we're all part of that big fun opportunity to create public health in our community. So hopefully, I gotta move y'all back over. I love it when you start sharing things, everything changes. So hopefully, give me a thumbs up if everybody can see things okay. And that way I know that I'm not just like blabbing. Yeah, okay, everybody can see. Woo. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, so let's get started. So yeah, French fries and Frosties, man, some people don't think they go together, but they really, really do. That sweet, that tang. And I just wanted to that's kind of my metaphor for sometimes collaborating with the unexpected, collaborating with people you might not necessarily think first and write off. Oh, these are the people I need to party with. But the fact of the matter is that if the pandemic taught us anything, is that collaboration, working with other folks in our community is a catalyst for social connection. It's places we're also all in the same place and space and providing opportunities for third space. So if you're not familiar with third space, that's that difference between somewhere that's not home, not work or school, but that place that you feel like you belong, you can share with others, all that good kinds of stuff. So there's that kind of overlapping opportunities there. The public health, this is what we're going to talk about today. So the Public Health Parks and Recreation Collaborative, what we do, why we do it, all that fun stuff. We're going to talk about multi-sector collaboration, what that is, and the advantages of it. We're going to talk about the different public health summits that we offer usually end of February, beginning of March, and our Get Out, Get Active socials. We're going to talk about resource sharing, and we're going to talk about Let's Move in Libraries, because Noah Linstra is a colleague of mine. Y'all may have heard of him. He started Let's Move in Libraries, and there's a really great overlap with that stuff. So we're going to start there. So what is this public health parks and recreation collaborative we've been talking about? So about 12 years ago, it became really obvious, or really to me anyway, that there was a disconnect or a lack of bridges across public parks and recreation, meaning parks and recreation in municipalities, in counties, in special recreation districts, and that kind of thing with public health. Um, I had the opportunity to work with some folks in public health, and they kept talking about, oh, it's so important for us to be able to have access to parks within, 10 minutes of our house. It's important for us to have more opportunity for um, movement and activity and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, have you ever talked to any of your parks and rec professionals in your communities? And it became really obvious to me that there were a lot of bridges missing. Well, the bridges also started to include, oh, well, maybe we should be talking to our built environment specialists. So those folks who plan places and spaces where we build outdoors and we build trails and where we create community places and spaces in our towns, in our cities, in our rural and urban areas and that kind of stuff. But it also became comparative that that wasn't all the people. It was our educators, it was our folks in libraries, it was our folks in extension offices, it's our folks kind of in all those places and spaces doing public health or community health up the stream, so to speak, like preventative and that kind of thing. And there wasn't enough of us. So that's kind of where it came from. We now have a network of over, my gosh, 550 people plus, give or take. I don't know, I think we represent like 150 to 175 different organizations across all of the different sectors I just told you about across the state. So it's a state organization. It's a non-membership due kind of thing. If you want to join us and have fun with us, you are welcome to. And I will take later, if you decide after this you want to be on our newsletter, we would love to have you. But we connect on a lot of different things. Our very first thing was around eliminating or tackling the childhood obesity epidemic in all its different ways, fashions, and forms. But it gave us an opportunity to come together across all of those sectors to be able to tackle something big and gnarly, that kind of thing. Gain trust, create relationships, plant seed for partnerships, and how we could work together in the communities we serve. And that's my hope today, is to give you all an opportunity to see where we can be like French fries and Frosties, where it fits together nicely. I will give you like a truth bomb here, a glitter truth bomb at that. Collaboration and working together with multiple sectors that come with their own baggage, their own, as I call them, egos, logos, silos, and all that good kinds of stuff. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. Sometimes it's really a lot like herding cats. Kind of people coming with their own perspectives, own ideas, own skills, abilities, knowledge, but also with their organizations as well. So it's a lot of fun to do. It's really challenging. But sometimes we find ourselves in a place in space where it's really advantageous and absolutely remarkable, beautiful things come out of working together across sectors. So that's what we're talking about. Want to share with you, yes, and all the different acronyms. We call it alphabet soup. We really, thanks, Lib 101. We really enjoy actually eliminating that stuff. We have a rule in the collaborative that there is no alphabet soup until you tell us what that acronym is first, and then we can use it, because we don't want I think using alphabet soup is a way to exclude people because they may not have that vernacular and that kind of stuff. So we are really, really aware of that kinds of stuff. So that today, if I do that at all, you just call me out because I'm happy to do that. So let's look at multi-sector collaboration. When you look at health, and especially community health, it's all these different sectors, all these different partners that come together. I'm sorry that libraries isn't specifically mentioned, but under government, under community organizations, I think that's where y'all fit. But it's parks and recreation. It's our business, especially our local businesses, our foundations, our communities, our direct service providers, community organizations, our education institutions. Y'all fit in all of those. Our governments and our local public health agencies. So, I mean, that's really big. Yes, you're all the gaps, you're all the things without a doubt. And that's what we try to bring it together. It's like a big giant potluck where everybody brings their knowledge, their expertise, their connections, their relationships, and all that kinds of stuff to the table. And those become some of the best meals ever, right? When you have to try a little bit of everything. So it provides some synergy. It looks like all of us coming and working together for the betterment of our community members, not just one section of them, but multiple, right? So the way that we started doing that, especially with multi-sector collaboration, was we decided it was important for us not only to meet via free conference call at the time. So imagine this, people, we started doing this 11 years ago, 12 years ago. We used to do all this stuff on a conference call well before Zoom. So it was kind of crazy and wacky. But we decided one of the best things that we could actually do was to bring all of us together across sectors in human form in the same place and space to share, take off those blinders, leave our egos, logos, and silos at the door, turn off our cell phones and actually engage with one another. It was super powerful. We started in 2015. Yeah, we just did our 10th multi-sector summit this past year, so in February of 2024, and we're looking at number 11 coming. So here's some of the things around our summits is we focus on education. We really try to find a topic, a purpose, a theme that encompasses all of our different sectors and what they may bring to that. So when we first started, it was all about community. It was all about the efforts for the sake of our community health, the sake of our community members, and especially focusing on that childhood obesity epidemic. We've now, over the course of 10 years, been in and around access to nutrition, parks, trails, open space, and health. We've been around, we've talked about mental health. We've talked about so many different big picture things that have to do with our community members that has been a little bit of everything. Last year was all about connection and eliminating social isolation and loneliness in our communities. Um, uh, because all of us have to work towards that. No one sector can make that happen alone. So it's education, it's networking, it's connection, it's interaction, it's movement. Our public health peeps, it's like absolutely. We've adopted a public health meeting policy. We try to go no longer than 90 minutes with without getting up and moving around, being silly. We've done everything from the hokey pokey to the electric slide, to the Cupid shuffle. We have walks every time so that we have lead walks so people get to get out and about and move and get those brain cells and that plasticity functioning. um, we've had dork dancing, which was amazing. Uh, we've done a little bit of everything. This year, I think we're bringing in Zumba and Tai Chi with some different organizations, so that should be cool too. But most importantly, it's about creating community, not just for our community members, but these bridges across our sectors, these bridges across our different fields, because we're like one big giant beautiful flower Venn diagram with community health in the middle and all of us overlapping in so many multitudes of different ways. So that's kind of how I see that working. And more than anything, our group, like the mission for the Public Health Parks and Recreation Collaborative, so we want communities who are healthy, active, happy, and safe in Colorado. And everyone who contributes to that is welcome to come to our party, welcome to bring their food to the potluck, welcome to dip their French fries in our milkshakes, all that good kinds of stuff. So that's what it looks like. So quick, not too quickly, but I'm going to show you some pictures from all of our different summits, so you can kind of see what this looked like. Okay, so in 2015 we brought 75 people together, no, 65 people together from multiple sectors, snuggled, crammed into, you can see it. Okay, why to do that? Snuggled into the Tri-County Health Department, to talk about and connect around collaboration and engagement, childhood obesity, like I talked about. We had to put people on a waiting list because only 65 people would fit in this room, right? And then we moved on to being at the Parks and Recreation Department. So we jumped up from 65 people to 135 people in 1 year because we had space in place to do that. We focused 1 year on Gen Z and how they were able to impact health and what they were doing around health. Every year is different for us. So we absolutely changed the program, we change the setup, we change how it works, we change all the different things so that it really focuses. We do it in different ways. We've had panels, we've had unconferences, we've had keynote speakers, we've had interactive workshops, we've had all sorts of different things happen to bring people together, engage, involve, meet people, actually interact with one another, and really just enjoy being together, kind of thing, and create relationships. So here's just some of the things that we've learned from a decade of summits. 70% of our partners and the folks who are there meet somewhere between 3 and 7 new potential partners that they didn't know before, whether directly from like their area, geographically speaking, and serving the same community, or somewhere across the state. So we have folks from as far north as Fort Collins. We have folks come up from Colorado Springs, Pueblo. My co-founder, Brian Cates, is down in Colorado Springs. We have folks come from Grand Junction, Montrose. Um, Occasionally the crew will come up from Durango if it's not snowing and that kind of stuff. But we also have folks come in from our mountain towns and central Colorado, as well as the bulk of our folks who are from uh, the Denver metro area and stuff all over the place. So opportunities to connect everywhere, because we know libraries are in every community across Colorado, right? Well, guess what? So is public health, and so is parks and recreation. And we want everyone playing together. That's kind of the biggest thing. We also have discovered that 93% of our attendees want to attend more multi-sector events. As far as we know, based on what I've learned from folks, is we are the only dedicated multi-sector, intentionally multi-sector event from an education standpoint that's very focused on networking, connection, and bringing people together across fields. I think there's a few that do it somewhere else, but if y'all know of anywhere else, you let me know because I haven't found them yet. And the number one reason that people will come to our Public Health Parks and Recreation Summit is they want to connect and network and meet like-minded folks who are looking at community health from a multi-sector, from a full holistic type of health view for our community members. Because, hey, that's fun. That's what we do, right? So here we go. Here it is, Christy. Here's the save the date, folks. March the 7th, coming up 2025, we're going to be at the Wheat Ridge Recreation Center. We've got room for 150 folks across sectors to come and play with us and learn with us and interact with us. And this year, we're really focusing on how we thrive together. So really thriving together, looking at things on how we live well together, so quality of life kinds of things, how we live longer, longevity, looking at some of the things from the blue zones, some of those secrets to the blue zones, what does longevity look like across community members, access to health, and how we live well and do that uniquely. So none of us do it the same way. Culturally speaking, from a gender standpoint, from all those different perspectives, we all find different ways to live well, live uniquely, and live long. So that's going to be our big topic this year. And so if that appeals to you in some way, shape, or form, I sure hope you can join us. And it's also very reasonable. Typically, yes, Thriving Well is another one. I was actually speaking there. I spoke there this year and stuff. So Thriving Well is another one, but it's also like just for the county. So yay, a bunch of those folks have been on our collaborative and are well. I love those dudes. Olivia and that crew has been involved in the Parks and Public Health Parks and Recreation Collaborative for a long time. So that's really cool. Thanks for pointing that one out. So I hope you can come join us. There you go. So let's talk a little bit about our other, the other thing that we do to bring folks together is our Get Out, Get Active socials. Oops, yeah, I missed it. Yeah. So we bring folks together during the summer, well, late spring, during the summer, early fall to get out and get active. So it's a combination of a little bit of education, a little bit of fun, being outdoors, having movement, learning something new, and putting that all together. So we have done everything from bike tours to on some of our Denver parks and trails to look at wayfinding art, community projects to put art in the middle of intersections, community projects done that way through some of our different agencies and organizations. To that, one of those pictures is from, we all went down to Colorado Springs, about 35 of us. Some came up from Pueblo, some from all over the place to visit Panorama Park, which was a park put together across sectors between Parks and Recreation, Public Health, Pikes Peak and the El Paso County uh, Foundation down there. I mean, they had a huge community organization come together to decide what was going to go into that park. It was the really perfect example of bringing community members together, community leaders together, input from the community. The park itself was a park that had been kind of cast away. There was a basketball court. There were a lot of drug deals going on down there. It was on the border of a middle school, a community center, that kind of stuff. And they wanted to change it. And I get a little bragging rights because the folks who initiated the idea for bringing all these folks together and working together with Trust for Public Land to create this park all met probably in about 2019, maybe 2016, at one of our public health parks and recreation summits. So the folks for Trust for Public Land, the folks from El Paso County Public Health, Colorado Springs, all those folks were together sitting at the same table, plotting exciting and fun things. So we all got to go down and see it. And that picture with the mosaic in it was actually created by the mosaic was created by all of their community members. They're all individual tiles with hopes and dreams for the community and what they wanted from the park printed on and drawn into those little tiny tiles. So it's really very, very cool. So that's one of our Get Out, Get Active socials. We've done everything from going hiking, biking. We've done a, oh, what's it called? The path where you walk the path and it looks like a maze, but it's not a maze. Crud, what's that called? I can't think of it. I hate when that happens. It's on the tip of my tongue. So we've done all sorts of different things to bring folks together and to celebrate and meet folks and cross-pollinate. We went down to the new center that's the new National Western Center complex where there's the folks where they're making accessible. Yes, a labyrinth. Thank you, Dania. We did one of those where we all came together, a new one that had been built. We went to there's four different places down at the Western complex. One's on food, one's on water, one's on land, and we experienced that like right after it opened. So we find cool new things to celebrate with our community members that's happening in the public. So it's a lot of fun. And we also do a little adult beverages afterwards too, because, well, hey, that's where we know little seeds for relationships get to start, right? And then this past summer, and I get to toot Christy's horn and stuff, as we work together with Christy with the Colorado State Library. Some of you may attended this, and we brought together folks from public health, parks and recreation, education, libraries, movement organizations like Intrinsic Paths and Pedestrian Dignity, the U.S. Forest Service, and a few other folks. And we met down at Belmar Library so that we could have Jonathan Stalls with Intrinsic Path lead us through a time to relax, a time to center, like a time to focus on being out in nature. And it was a combination of telling stories, a combination of creativity, a combination of being in fellowship with one another outdoors on one of the freaking hottest days of summer ever. It was like, what was it, Christy? Like 99 degrees or something like that. It was crazy, crazy. But we had 25 people. No, there was like 30 of us, I think, who came down with their very large water bottles, and we strolled through the park. We had opportunities to sit and relax. We had opportunities to share, opportunities to be guided by Jonathan through being present in those places and spaces and talking about books. And I mean, we did a little bit of everything. It was amazing. So it was a lot of fun. So those are the kinds of fun things we do. The next place in space I want to kind of talk about is from the collaborative is really all about resource sharing. It's integral for us to be able to gather things from across our different sectors and share it with each other because sometimes we don't get that. We get the stuff that's all in our little own wheelhouse. And it's an opportunity to share, right? So here's kind of here's a look at what we do. So we share newsletters on a pretty monthly basis. We have professional development. I share like all the different types of multi-sector professional development opportunities that come across my desk in all of our sectors. I look at different kind of programs and activities that people might want to cross-pollinate in and or adopt and or bedazzle and or steal, because they can go across. I don't know, y'all probably have seen this. I see more and more libraries having outdoor and nature play after story time. I'm seeing more opportunities inside libraries where they're doing yoga, where they're doing tai chi, and you may or may not have one of those folks that's certified to teach that kind of stuff in your library system. But guess what? Your Parks and Recreation folks do, and we're borrowable. Um, so I see lots of opportunity for cross-pollination with program or advertising or marketing. There's amazing opportunities for partnerships, and we think of ourselves as an opportunity to plant seeds for partnership. Just like I was talking about the park and stuff with you. It's a place to share data and information. Public health is incredible. They already gather so much data that is available in public to everyone. You just have to know what rock to look under because it's not like it is sort of published. It's published out there, but sometimes we don't get that information. If you want to know what the demographics of your county, of your city, your municipality look like from an age standpoint, from race, from you know, all the folks who are over 65, from education levels, they got all the data and it's free. And you might be wanting to work on a project to find out, okay, how many folks are visiting our library? Well, how do we cross-pollinate that with public health data? And those local public health folks are available and ready to help. They want to play too. Funding is another one. Sometimes who knows where funding is going to go at this point in time with different folks. In office. But it's available through grants. A lot of those grants require folks to partner. The more that they partner across sectors, the more likely they are to be considered for funding because they're demonstrating that they're collaborating and using resources well. Connection is like the biggest one. Some of my most wonderful professional relationships have grown from little tiny seeds from folks at the state public health department, from a variety of different parks and recreation agencies, from everything from the smallest to the largest, from special districts all the way up to federal. I've gotten to meet Christy throughout her being able to be here, and coming to one of our summits and that kind of stuff. So it's important. And then the other thing that's cool is if there's a place or a space where you want to meet people and you're thinking, oh, geez, it would be so cool if I actually knew the person who was doing older adult education and older adult activities because we'd love to cross-pollinate and do a program at the library. I know those people. I love introducing people to folks who might be able to create new fun connections, partnerships, collaborations, coalitions. I think sometimes I feel like I'm that speed dating person and stuff, and I do it all the time. I love when people say, Joe, do you know anybody who's in Jeffco Public Health but might be working with older adults or who might be doing this? And the answer is yes. And if I don't, then I probably know someone who is, and I love helping make that happen. So the other thing that we do with the collaborative is we do quarterly Zoom calls for folks who are on our core crew. That's really easy if this interests you and you're like, well, I want to play with all these people all the time. We do that. We do a quarterly Zoom. We talk about things that are key across all of our different sectors, but we also have a guest speaker and that kind of thing come and share something about what's happening in that sector. Christy was ours last quarter, no, 2 quarters ago. So first quarter, she did ours. We also do in-person gatherings like we talked about. We have a LinkedIn group. We do a little Instagram here and there. We encourage folks to cross-pollinate and go to each other's um, professional association things like that as well, like Public Health in the Rockies, Colorado Parks and Recreation Association, planning, the landscape architects, the planning folks, healthy eating, active living conferences, all those kinds of things. So we like to share all that stuff too. So yeah, like Christy just put in there, if you have questions, don't don't hesitate. Feel free to unmute, ask, put it in the chat. Um, and uh Christy will ask me those questions and stuff if I can't see them because I don't just want to be that talking bubble. I really like interacting with folks. So the last thing I really wanted to share is the Let's Move in Libraries program. So Noah Lenstra out in North Carolina, I think, started this program, and I actually met him through a think tank and through a national multi-sector program through what's called now Active Enviro. It used to be GP Red and that kind of thing. So um, we got to meet, and he was talking about all the different things that were happening across the country where folks in libraries were working on getting folks to move, working on folks, getting folks to be active. It came out of Michelle Obama's um, Let's Move initiative when she was First Lady. And I think he just like grabbed on to it and went crazy. But I think that's where we're seeing that cross pollination between nature playgrounds being built outside of or in the open spaces surrounding libraries, especially here in Jefferson County, because that's where I'm at. I'm just in Arvada. I think it's where you're starting to see, late night at the library with for teens getting to do sleepovers and movies and readings and I think ours even did a camp out night and stuff like that, which it's great to see those kinds of things happening in the libraries in conjunction with the folks in our communities who feel like libraries are their safe space. And I can't emphasize that enough. Right there with libraries are our parks and recreation folks. And I think if we have folks doing that together, whether it's camping out in the parks with libraries and readings and ghost stories and that kinds of stuff, wow, how much fun is that? And I think Christy might know more about, moving in libraries and stuff than I do. Um, but the biggest thing with that is you don't I think we just have to be opening to asking the question. And the best way that a lot of us like can converse or meet one another or engage or have opportunities to plant seeds for collaboration and partnership and working together in unique ways is coming to something like the summit. So again, I'll ask and invite you to come to that. It's also inviting each other to go have a cup of coffee or take a walk around a park to just have a conversation and learn about what we do in our different fields, in our different sectors, and how we engage community and how we um, focus on health and how we generate opportunities for community health and that kinds of stuff. So, oh, thanks for putting in there. So they do drop in virtual conversations and stuff. So that's a big thing. And it doesn't matter if you're in the metro area or if you're in our rural area of Colorado or if you're on our western slope or if you're in our mountain towns or if you're down south or any of those, there are those other sectors there to play with too, especially in our small communities where everybody knows everybody. And then I invite you to connect with us. Be our French fries to our, be the French fries to our milkshake and vice versa. We had some really good fun stuff where people put in the things that they like to combine. Whatever it is, let's make it happen and that kind of thing. So that's my contact info. That's the info to be able to engage with the collaborative, our LinkedIn kind of conversation group, our website. our Instagram. There's my contact info. If you're like, hey, Joe, I want to talk to you about this, please do. Please reach out. All that good fun stuff. And I'm gonna stop sharing and yeah, I think that worked. And come back to the chat because I see lots of people were sharing really good stuff and it I didn't get to see everything. So ask
Yeah,
questions. Let
yeah,
me
I
know
want
what
to
you
go ahead and ask Andy's question for him out loud or for them out
Yay.
loud. Is there more information about the March 7th event on the website's already linked? And the answer is yes. I put in the chat Joe's email, and someone else put in the link to the page on the website for the summits. Just so everyone knows, if you subscribe to LibNet, which I feel you must if you're on this webinar, I will, as the event comes up and is closer and the registration becomes available, I will share information and make sure that everybody, at least everyone who subscribes on LibNet, gets that information. And I also wanted to mention, let's Move in Libraries. Noah is amazing. He helped consult on an upcoming, like literally within the next 2 weeks, you're going to get a survey for data gathering on adult services and the kinds of activities and programming that we do in our libraries in Colorado for a first of its kind study, but certainly a first of its kind in Colorado. There was only the one that Noah led in North Carolina. So a lot of the opportunities to learn other things that our libraries are doing, like Joe mentioned, like I know a bit about like active and physical activity and mobility programs and services happening in libraries. We're going to get a lot of information about that, thanks in part to Noah. But just keep your eyes out on that. Every month, Let's Move in Libraries has a quote, birds of a feather meetup that we do. As I participate in it as much as possible. You can just get on the newsletter and sign up for it. The event will show up on your calendar and you can show up or just leave it there and don't show up. It's an informal chat for the most part, but we meet with people from all over the country and all sorts of libraries. Many people from Colorado libraries show up too and just kind of share and ask questions, things like, what are you doing for older adults outdoors during the winter if you get a lot of snow? And you'll see people say a bunch of different ideas and share resources and stuff like that. So just putting that, those are all in the chat, and I will send all of that information as well in the follow-up email. Thank you, Joe. And
Well, and Christy, I saw you put in there about story walks and stuff. So that is a great way if you are partnering. Great way to partner with Parks and Recreation is say, hey, can we do a story walk at X Park and stuff? And if you want connections,
absolutely.
well, yeah, because I have gone very cool places. Where was I? I was in Spokane and went to one of their state parks, and they had a story walk, and okay, it's a kid's book, right? But my daughter 18. Like we all had to do it. Like we were all like so excited through the story walk. Um, Families and stuff of all ages absolutely love those. And it's such a great crossover between libraries and parks and recreation and public health. You see them, we're seeing them in more and more places. So, I mean, programmers and Parks and Recreation love wacky ideas. I can't tell you enough how much they love to try new things, and they are not as limited as some other folks who might be, where it's like, oh, let's see if we can throw a couple $100 at this and see if we can make it happen. They don't have to, no, they're not like public health where we have to assess all of it first and decide whether or not it meets the data or is what is it, evidence based. Sometimes we just get to try it and throw it out there and say, oh, okay, is there a need for this? And so it's part of that assessment process. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to think, oh, well, how might we do something interesting and crazy and fun and benefits different age groups and benefits different folks? Because we definitely see like that middle school group. And especially in Parks and Rec, those tweens, from like 11 to 14, 15, are some of the most left out folks in our communities. And how are we doing things for, with, in conjunction with them that appeals to where they want to be at. These kids read, these kids are involved in a variety of different things, and there's lots of cross opportunities. So yeah. Yeah, and oh, you mentioned this the stuff from the summit. So we just finalized the theme. So registration for that will open in January. It always opens right at the beginning of 2025. Because the Colorado Parks and Recreation Association does our registration for us. And so they always want it in the next fiscal year. So keep an eye out on that. Our call for presentations and call for folks who might want to share will be coming out here mid-November. This is mid-November, very shortly. So keep an eye out for that. Christy will get it for sure. She can share it with the whole world. But if you're interested, please, we work very diligently to have presenters from all of our sectors, and so that everything we do appeals across sectors, because that's the whole idea. We don't ever want it leaning too far one way, the other, or over in the whatever. But yeah, so all that information will be showing up on the website here very shortly, with more detail and more information. So thanks for asking about that, Andy.
I have a question, Joe, because I get this question a lot. So one of the concerns that some of our libraries have, pretty rightly, when it comes to doing active programming, including, like you mentioned, things like Tai Chi and yoga, many of our libraries do that. Sometimes we have to contract folks, which comes at a cost. Many times we can't afford it. But if we did have someone from Parks and Rec or one of the collaborative members, likely would they have things like liability, first aid, CPR training, things like that? Are those things that
Yeah,
they already have that then we could have them in our libraries without us having to worry about our own?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they all have that. I would say almost every person who works in recreation centers, every single one of them is AED trained, CPR, first aid. Some of them are even mental health first aid. When you start looking at all those fitness folks and all that kinds of stuff, yeah, they have all the certifications when it comes to yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, all those different things. Um, and sometimes, yeah, they do that for a cost, but instead, I would talk to them about a negotiation of a trade. As in, oh, what's something if they come into your facility and bring, let's say, for example, a yoga class, what would be a great trade for that? Well, I know almost all of you do preschool uh story time, right? Few of you? It might be a good marketing trade. I would say almost 60 to 75% of our parks and recreation facilities, especially in the metro area, offer preschool, like licensed preschool and childcare. And to be able to say, hey, I'd be happy to market that for you and share that information with all of our preschool folks who are coming to story time, and just say, hey, this is a partner, this is an information share that they might go, oh, well, that might be really nice to share that. So think out of the box. Sometimes it might be monetary, sometimes it might be um um, a trade. Sometimes it might be a facility trade. Like you'll see a lot of facility kinds of things between public health and parks and recreation. For example, immunizations like vaccines and that kind of stuff happening at recreation centers. That's a little fun trade and stuff there as well. And they do that for free. So they trade time for, we'll let you have this room so you can do vaccinations if you do blah, blah, blah. Like it's a find win-wins, find things that are mutually beneficial to share. But yeah, they come with all of that fun stuff.
I'd like to just read out a comment in the chat because I think it's really, really powerful and important. So someone at a library, thank you both for this. I started organizing collaborations for about 7 different organizations in our county utilizing library spaces. It was very difficult, emphasis on very. However, over the last 2 years, I've noticed that due to the collabs, it has become a lot easier to get all of our local organizations under the same roof. It's hard, but you and the organizations involved will get much better at doing this. Yes, that has been the experience I've personally had with like statewide stuff, but also in a
Yeah.
library setting, and is also a shared experience that you have shared with me and others have shared too. To that end, NOAA and other folks, including the state library, there's a lot of resources on partnership and collaboration, including like just basic kind of a good inventory of questions to ask, and a good way of, because not every partnership is going to work out and not every partnership is really necessary. So a good
Yeah.
way to ask yourself, your organization, and the other partner, is this something that's really worth it? And most importantly, how can we agree on deliverables and expectations of that? Because a lot of
Mhm.
times in library land, people want us and they like to take advantage of all the wonderful things we have, and do things like not show up, do things like not deliver on their end of the bargain. And so, yeah, it's very hard. Once you get it, kind of going a little bit, I think it's a little easier. Um, so thank you for sharing that. We have about 5 minutes left. I'm going to put into the chat a survey link. Again, that's the state library survey. Feel free to fill that out. Helps me report on what we do, helps me know whether or not this is something you want to look forward to in the future. Again, it'll be shared with you in the follow-up email. But Joe, do you have any final thoughts before we end the recording? Oh, and someone else put in the chat a ditto to that about the positive impact on collaborating to receiving grant funds. We are one of the few partners in a city-initiated effort to improve park spaces, and recently heard that they received funds to expand the program. That's excellent news. And yeah, being a part of that will leverage that connection to build your own capacity, right? And your visibility. People want to
Yeah.
shut us down, I think sometimes because they don't see what we really do. And once we become viable members of the community in that respect, becomes a lot different, different conversation when we are a visible, active part of the civic and social infrastructure in a community.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
any final
Christy,
thoughts?
I think you hit it on the huge nail on the head. Is one of the most powerful things about doing multi-sector collaboration and cross-sector engagement and just creating relationships and building bridges is for the different sectors to understand who and what and how and all the things that you really and truly are. It's an education process constantly. Like people have assumptions, imagine that, about what parks and recreation do. They don't get all of the stuff that we are involved in health wise. They don't necessarily, they think of us as the fun people who provide the fields for soccer and the swimming pools and the lifeguards, and that's it. And summer camps. Um, they don't know about all of the places, spaces, and trails and open space and health focus. And we're involved in older adults and people with disabilities and health and fitness and wellness and just numerous things. We truly are the folks who do the cradle to grave stuff. Oh, like who else? The libraries, cradle to grave, baby. And not everybody understands the social involvement that libraries have become involved with. They might be first responders for somebody who's homeless or who needs resources. And, here in Jefferson County, and I don't know, several sectors ago, we had a whole big thing on third place, and libraries are absolutely third place. And the first, social workers inside libraries that had never been done before. And public health gets assumed that all they ever do is actually, tell us when we can and cannot swim and what we can and cannot eat. And oh, please wear your seatbelt and all of that kinds of stuff. And people don't understand the breadth there, or the same with folks who do public planning and landscape architecture and building and creating those spaces that we want to be in, that we want to walk in, sit in, work in, play in, all that kinds of stuff. And when we take the time to have that cup of coffee or hot chocolate or tea or a walk in the park and really listen and learn, where all of us overlap in so many places in that beautiful Zen diagram, then all of a sudden those ahas go off. The reasons we can collaborate and serve the same communities where we live, work, and play become apparent. And yes, you're absolutely, it's hard, it's very difficult, and it's like herding cats. But it's absolutely 100% worth it. Um, and sometimes it drives us to tequila. But other than that, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to like uphold each other and work with each other and be advocates for each other inside that preventative community health place. So there's my soapbox. So sorry about that.
Well, thank you for everything, Joe. Thank you for presenting for us. I'm going to stop the recording now, but thank you to everyone who showed up and is watching this later. I'm going to stop the recording.
Yay, thanks everyone for coming. Share it with friends.